because we're finding out that there's continued to be some issues in Atlanta where a black mother claims her child's schools segregate classes based on race. Now, Kila Posey, who filed a federal complaint against Mary Lin Elementary School, Posey said that she was stunned to find out that the principal, Sharyn Briscoe, who is also black, placed her daughter in an all-black class. Posey insisted that her child be placed in a class with white students, but Briscoe said the second grader would be isolated. A recorded conversation between Posey and an assistant principal confirmed separating the student by race was in fact Briscoe's idea. Now, this is a violation of Title IV of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Atlanta Public Schools conducted a review of the allegations and found appropriate actions were taken, quote unquote. But Posey was not satisfied and filed a complaint with the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Posey wants the principal and her administration removed from the school. I want to go to our panel, Reese Colbert of Black Women Views, Dr. Greg Carr, Chair of the Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University, and Amisha Cross, political analyst and Democratic strategist. Panel, this situation down in Georgia, black class. All right, I'm gonna throw this into you, Doc, because I feel like you might get us off on an interesting start. This mother was upset that her daughter was placed into an all-black class.
Yeah. Okay, I'm holding my tongue. Number one, I don't know enough about this to speak intelligently about the specific circumstances. The questions I would want answered is, if she is not funding this federal court challenge, who is?
Okay.
That's what I would need to know, because if you know the Harvard case, where the Massachusetts State Court said that Harvard's affirmative action policies could remain in place, Robert Mercer and others, and some of the same Klan crowd that funded the Sarah Fisher's challenge that made it to the Supreme Court, are backing them. And it's now in federal court. If it can get to the Klan majority on the Supreme Court, they're looking to dead out affirmative action. But they did not use white people. They used, the argument that they're advocating for a point of entry that began with Asians who had higher test scores and higher scores. So in this situation, I hope that this is something similar, because if this is as simple as a black parent who I'm afraid may have picked the white doll if she had been given the Clark doll test that went into Brown versus Board in terms of which doll do you like the most, didn't understand that a black woman educator is attempting to help her young black young black child perhaps see someone black in front of the room. Because remember, there were a number of teachers who said, why don't I have access to all the teachers? Maybe there are only 2 black teachers. I want to know the race of the teacher in the classroom, because typically in those classrooms, you don't have teachers who look like the students. So maybe there was a black teacher, a black woman or a black man. And at that age, you want to see that. I'm afraid what we have here is a situation of what I don't even have a phrase for it, but maybe we can call it terminal integration. In other words, you think you're advocating for your child, but you've misunderstood the fundamental purpose of these laws, which was to create space for us to have access to resources and to continue to develop ourselves as human beings, not to be given access to white people. You may be doing your child more harm than good, but I don't know enough about the circumstances. I just hope that she's not being put out there by some people who do understand what this is about, which is what? Control over public education, and making sure that you can never attack racism in this country in a way that addresses historical wrong, but you bring it forward in the words of John Roberts, the kind of Klan adjacent Supreme Court Chief Justice, that the way you get rid of discrimination based on race in this country is to get rid of discrimination based on race in this country. You know what they call colorblind constitutionalism. That's something you would see in critical race theory. But as Amisha said, they don't teach it outside of law schools. So I just hope that lady, I don't know.
Amisha, what's your take on this? Because even though the mom said that she wanted her daughter to be in a class with white students, and the principal was saying the second grader would be isolated. You just talked about the story of what you learned about racism as a girl in the first grade. I mean, does the principal have a case? Does the principal, making this decision saying, look, I think this is in your daughter's best interest to put in an all-black class? All-black class. I mean, is the principal wrong in making that decision?
I don't think that the principal is wrong in making the decision. I do think, again, as somebody who's worked in education at the K through 12 level, that conversation should have happened with the parent before moving the child. And I say that because, to Dr. Carr's point, this could be one of two things. This could be a parent who just assumes that water tastes better or water is colder if it's on the white side, or this could be a parent who honestly feels like her child learns more in a diverse, and what she is assuming is a diverse classroom. I would have to know more backgrounding on the school itself. Is this a school that just has very few African Americans in general? What I do know is that schools across America have a whole lot of white teachers. Over 80% are white teachers. So for there to even be a black head of the classroom in the K through 12 level is exceptionally rare. As someone who had only 2 black teachers in K through 12, one of them was my own mama because I was homeschooled for a while. At the end of the day, I can say that it does make a difference having a black person lead the classroom, be it whether you're in an all-white classroom, which I was in outside of homeschooling. I was often the only white kid in my class, and trust and believe, I am in accordance with that principle. There is no way you don't notice it. There is no way that you aren't treated differently. And I think that that type of conversation needed to be had with that parent before moving that student. But I also think that we need to talk to black parents differently, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of black parents across this country who assume that if your kid is in a white class or your kid is in a class led by white people, that they are learning more than they are, or their education is going to be better than if they are in a classroom full of black kids. And I can say that that is flat out a lie. What we know is that there are significant resource differences between schools that house predominantly black kids and schools that house predominantly white kids. It is not an education deficit based on teaching. It is not an education deficit based on culture. It is a deficit based on the fact that we have a system that provides more funding, more assets to white schools, to suburban schools, than they do to African-American schools or schools that are largely in African-American communities. That is something we need to continue talking to parents about, and something that honestly we have to, as a nation, do more for, because our community schools are largely black and brown and not white, even though the leadership of them happens to be predominantly white women.
Back to that Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. Seek.com, we're partnering with them, of course. We appreciate their support right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Check out a couple of their products that you can take advantage of.
And you're watching us on Seek.
What's going on? This Quavo Huncho, but right now you in the Huncho's world.
Please let the music play.
Enjoy the Seek.com video by using one of their virtual reality headsets. All you do is just pop your phone right here into the VR headset and enjoy the content. You can also take advantage of their 360-degree headphones. These headphones here come in a couple of colors, black and gold, but then also all gold. And so you can check these out. If you want to use our promo code to get a discount, it's RMVIP21, RMVIP21. Then, of course, a portion of the proceeds comes back to Roland Martin Unfiltered, which allows for us to fund the show. And so this is a black-owned company, and we certainly believe in supporting black-owned companies. Mary Spiel is the founder. And so, again, go to Seek.com and use the promo code RMVIP21.